Hey guys, this is what to avoid in discussion meet, as well as what people do avoid that they shouldn't. I just decided after I made the heading slide, I was like, I probably should just combine these two because they're similar. So I did. So this is what to avoid. Things to avoid from experience: political events currently happen unless it is on the topic. Unresearched information or topics, stuttering and wiggling, the word and arguing with other competitors is the one of the biggest. So we're going to dive deeper into these five and talk about why and how you can use these things to your advantage or why you should just not use them at all. Political statements. Political statements can be used in your advantage. Political views can be used, but it's important to use the right side of the views. You might believe this way, but all of agriculturalists believe this way. So, as it is an agricultural based competition with agriculturalists as its judges, you want to pick the side that they are going to view. So, as for political statements, you want to find the ones that the majority of agriculturalists agree with. If you name something that's against the judge's view, they can dock your scores about it. I'm not saying they will. It depends on the judge. You know how every competition is, especially when it's public speaking. It just depends. As sad as that is. With this, you want to pick the views that agriculturists will agree with. That's as simple as that. If you think something may be twisted in the wrong way by another competitor, then I just suggest not use it. And as for political statements, if you use them, you need to have the information to back them up. If you say a statement or an act and do not know what it is, or do not know who it is, or do not know why they said it, it doesn't do you any benefit. It just, people can easily say, well, what is that? And you have no clue. It doesn't show that you know the information. It shows you know what somebody said. So, okay. Next is fidgeting. There is a whole section on the rubric for fidgeting. If you really must fidget, I would suggest normally they have like a tablecloth over. Do it with your hands under the table. Like I had a fidget ring, so I sat there and spun that while I was sitting down. When I stood up and did my opening and closing statements, no fidgeting, hands behind my back or in front of me, did not touch the ring, did not fidget, and said my piece and sat down. Do not play with your heel, girls. Boys, I don't know what y'all would play with, but just don't do it. You want to stay as still as possible in order to make sure they are listening to what you are saying and not watching you moving. So that's my piece on that. Just try to keep it to a minimum. If there's a tablecloth, you can fidget with your fingers. If you really must major fidget, write some of the things down, but don't overwrite with your pen. Just write every minute or two just to keep your nerves down. So the next one's unresearched topics. When you start talking about something that you don't research, you're kind of just, it's like an opinion. You don't know if it's true or not. You have no way to back it up. You're just speaking out of your mouth with no backup. So if you've not researched a topic and somebody else says it, you can ask them what it is. That's later on in the video. I'll talk about that more. But you want to try to switch back to something you know information about, or if somebody else says something that you know, you want to jump on it. You don't want to stay on those unresearched topics for too long. Arguing with other competitors is a big no-no. It's aggravating when it happens and frustrating, and you cannot, as well as you try to prepare, you cannot determine other people's actions. If this happens, do not freeze up. My first year this happened, and this dude was pretty much yelling at all of us. Don't freeze up. Remember, you got this. You're prepared. You did the information. You know the information. You did the work to be there. You aren't there for no reason. In this case, if they will not be quiet and you want something to say about something they have said in that, wait till you hear them come up to a pause, start talking. If they keep trying to talk, just keep talking and they will stop. And then if this happens, do not give the conversation back to them. Give it to somebody else in the room. Say, hey, so and so. They may try to interrupt you when you do this, but at least try to pass the conversation. And this is my key to that. It's hard to deal with. Sometimes you just gotta deal with it. Just don't be rude back to them, because that can also dock you points. This is just don't use this word. Don't use this word. It should just don't. Stuttering, it's okay if you have a little bit, but if you start like doing opening statements, just start stuttering and cannot stop, take a breath. Nobody's going to judge you for taking a breath. Relax. You got this. No, you got this. You're prepared. You got this. You don't need to be nervous. You got this. So the last slide is things not to be intimidated by that many people are. Like, I was intimidated by these things. That's why I'm doing. Asking about topics from other competitors. It does not show that you do not know what you're talking about. It shows that you are interested in what they have to say. It shows you don't know it, but you want to learn. It shows the judges that you are engaged. So if you don't know something, please ask. It can give you points. Being friends with competitors. Most people think if you compete against each other, you must be enemies, but this is not true. It's easier to do if you are nice to the people before you go into the room and talk to them. You know their voice, you know their names. Much easier. Just be friendly while you're there. Asking about other people's lives. So, like, during some of these topics, I will ask people, like, hey, do you show livestock? Hey, do you have a farm? Like, to show I'm engaged and I want to know about these people's lives and why they have their view this way. This can also give you points. Don't be afraid to do any of these things. Like, honestly, they just show you're engaged in the conversation and that you want to know more than you already know. So it benefits you. So ask those questions, ask things you don't know about so you can know more and the judges know you're engaged in this conversation. So that's all I have now. We're going to do a video on dress, and then I want to do a video on how I did my research and found those, and like what sources you need to use and what you don't. So those two videos will be there. These are just the two videos I already had done and I hadn't posted yet. So those two will be up shortly.